Not yet. Oops. What's up, guys? All right, we got the chats molding together. We're live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and we are all we have heard the news. We've heard the news. I actually haven't gone live with Instagram yet. I was planning to do that right after I had just gone live with YouTube, but I had to stop the YouTube because we had a bunch of injury news hit. So I wanted to reset and restart and get into the bottom of some of the news that is coming out. So I'll reset it at the top. Trey Lance has a left knee sprain and could miss 1 to 2 weeks. Now, obviously, the 49ers have an entire bye. And then on the other side of that, they have another week to prepare for the Colts. So if it's a 1 to 2 week injury, to me, it still seems like there is a potential chance that he could be available against the Colts. But it sounds like the narratives that are already kind of being spun off of it is that he might not be available and Jimmy Garoppolo will be available at that time. So it really feels like that the whole tone and the mood is really kind of preparing and shifting the fan base for a Jimmy Garoppolo start against the Colts. Again, we don't know too much. This information just hit in regards to the information regarding the injuries. Obviously, there were some additional injuries. Marcel Harris, linebacker, he had a fractured thumb. So it sounds like he could actually be a candidate for short term IR. So that could be coming our way. So that's not good news. And then after that, I think, again, some of the other news was Jimmy Garoppolo could be available, potentially K'Wan Williams and JaMychal Hasty after the bye, which I actually think is a big get. I think the 49ers want to get JaMychal Hasty back. I think that's absolutely going to be a huge addition back to this team. But obviously, losing Marcel Harris, we already understand that the linebacker depth has been thinned out this year. I was wondering why Dante Johnson was playing linebacker. I was wondering why. I saw Dante Johnson basically playing like Will linebacker, and I was like, that's an interesting wrinkle. I thought it was a wrinkle. I thought it was it's Dante Johnson. I thought they were just trying something new. Apparently it sounds like that's what they're where they're at in regards to their depth at linebacker. With Marcel Harris going down, it appeared that Dante Johnson got some run at linebacker. So the news regarding Dre Greenlaw, it appears Dre Greenlaw could be back for the Colts game, but it doesn't sound very definitive. It sounds like a potential, but they're going to err on the side that it's not going to happen again. Don't want to let people down by giving false hope that Dre Greenlaw will be back. He could be back, so we'll keep it at that. So there might be some relief coming at that position. But again, they're getting tested early and often in regards to the depth. Thankfully, the defense as a whole, I feel like, has done a pretty solid job. I think the defense through the first 5 weeks of the year has been pretty good, especially dealing with the injuries that they have at defensive back. Guys coming in off the streets and Josh Norman, rookies coming in, Diamador Lenore, putting a lot of guys in tough spots. But I think for the most part, Guys have been stepping up to the challenge, and the defense, I think, has done a phenomenal job. Again, we were talking about it on the live a little bit on YouTube, but when a defense is able to hold a offense of the Cardinals caliber to only 17 points and give and seven, I think it was 7 points in the second half, and really give the 49ers an opportunity to even be in the game. The 49ers defense has honestly been answering the call all year. So I'm really, really pleased with the defensive performance. Um, they would probably look at themselves in the mirror and say they've had up and down year or up and down games, but I would say for the most part, um, they've been pretty consistent with their performance, and I feel pretty good about the defense. The offense, however, I believe is becoming to be more of the conversation and continuing to be the conversation that dominates this team, dominates fan narrative, dominates conversation. And honestly, this news regarding Trey Lance couldn't have come at a worse time. It couldn't come at a worse time. Again, I'm not the only one reading these comment sections. I'm not the only one, seeing the thoughts. Like, a lot of people are unhappy with Kyle Shanahan, and I can understand why. And I'll try to help maybe preface why some people are unhappy with Kyle Shanahan. Um, And we were talking about this earlier, and we were talking about like when you have Trey Lance starting again, he's a rookie getting his first start, and it is what it is. There's going to be growing pains that come with the rookie quarterback, and um, I think most logical fans and people who understand football recognize that there will be growing pains with a rookie quarterback getting his first start. But I think what fans are having a hard time with is it feels like there are growing pains with a fifth year head coach and growing pains with an offense surrounding the fifth year head coach. And so I can understand some of the disappointment that fans have. Now, it might be going a little bit too far. I don't think Kyle Shanahan deserves to be fired. I don't think he deserves to go anywhere. I don't think he's a bad coach. I don't think he's a bad play designer. I just think we're in a really weird spot. I think we're in a really weird spot, and we've been in a really weird spot since this offseason. And it really just feels like compounding energy on top of compounding energy. Um, a lot of people like to focus on production when it comes to football. They like to focus on outcomes. They like to focus on stat lines and stat sheets, but people don't focus on the part that leads up to before that occurs and before you can produce and before you can put a product out on the field. And let's not sugarcoat anything. The 49ers have been in a weird spot for the last 9 months. The whole offseason situation, starting with Deshaun Watson to Stafford to Darnold to whichever quarterback underneath the sun, to then trading up to number 3, then the speculation surrounding who's going to be at 3, the drama that came from that, and then you select the quarterback and the drama that has now ensued as a result. It's just been weird. It's been weird for players. It's been weird for fans. It's been weird for account owners who operate and are trying to um, do their best to not elicit um, panic. But I think there are questions and concerns about the offseason, about how it's compounding into the season now. And unfortunately, based on the game and how it was executed from a play calling standpoint against the Cardinals, a lot of people are going to look at Kyle Shanahan because that's what fans do. Let's be honest. If there's a loss, if your team loses, we want to know why and who's to blame. It's part of the fatal flaw of being a fan, but it is what it is, and we want to assign responsibility at a certain point, which I understand. Yeah, fire me. It's my fault. Fire me, please. Fire me, and take me out of my misery. Um, but honestly, a lot of people are pointing to the 11 runs um, from Trey Lance. Of course, I talked about um, I talked earlier on the live um, about Trey Lance's mom. They kept showing cut ups of Trey Lance, or they kept going to Trey Lance's mom throughout the game. You know, whether she was like had her hands in her face, or she was excited, or like I was like, I felt like Trey Lance's mom. Like I felt like yesterday during the game, like the way Trey Lance's mom was reacting to watching her son take hit after hit after hit. I felt the same way. Moms, I'm right there with you. I felt for you. Like again, I got 3 young kids. I chose to watch the game with my kids yesterday, and I'm like looking at the whole situation. I'm like looking at his mom. I got my kids there. I'm getting my kids into football, and I'm like, God, I can't even wrap my head around, watching my kids go through that. So like I sympathize with Mrs. Lance. And so, but I think a lot of the focus now, unfortunately, is going to come on that. Is going to come on how the game was called, how the game was operated. Um, and all that stuff. You see it. Yep. Trey dad was rocking the residency hat, looking fire out there. Um, but I think a lot of fans are coming away and this injury doesn't help. Again, this injury doesn't help. This injury only pushes a certain thought further and a certain type of mentality further. And on one hand, I get it. Like I understand. And we were talking about this. I keep mentioning what we were talking about earlier. But one of the things that we were talking about earlier was when you go back and you scout Trey Lance and you scout Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, Trey Lance was playing under center. Trey Lance was executing play action. Trey Lance was turning his back to the defense and being successful at that. So it did feel a bit odd. It did feel a bit odd when you see Trey Lance on designed quarterback powers and quarterback counters. He runs for 16 times a game. Yeah, it felt interesting. It felt like the 49ers were getting away from their run game. I felt like Elijah Mitchell was doing pretty serviceable, although he only had 9 carries. I thought Elijah Mitchell looked pretty good. Would have loved to see Trey Sermon involved a little bit more to be able to take the pressure off of not only Trey Lance, but the offensive line as well. And I know the offensive line didn't have their best game. They didn't play their best game. They would say that to you. And I think a lot of fans obviously saw that as well. But also at the same time, I was talking about this as well. They're a run first offensive line unit. They're built to run the football. They're not a they're not a drop back passing style of offensive line. The only person that maybe you could say fits drop back passing style is Trent Williams. I would say all other 4 guys, they're run first. They're zone runners, which is why you use play action. And the hope is to see, play action used a little bit more so that, again, you're not only helping your young quarterback, your running back, your defense, but you're helping your offensive line unit, again, be able to show run action and then boot out off the side or boot out the back end, whether it's naked or whatever. It just felt like we got away from some of that. It felt like we got away from some of the things that we've come to know and expect from this offense. What we saw at training camp, go back a couple months to training camp, what we watched in training camp day in and day out, was that same style, the same run first style, same play action with the play action pass predicated off the run game. And it just felt like we got away from that against the Cardinals. And I don't know if that was because, you have a guy like Trey Lance who's really dynamic as a runner. Um, but again, I just get back to the way Trey Lance was at North Dakota State. And again, it just felt like he can be efficient and work from the pocket and work how the offense we've seen it work in the past. So I don't know. I think there's just a lot of uncertainty, a lot of it's a tough situation. It's a tough situation because I think Trey Lance played really well. I think Trey Lance showed a lot of potential, a lot of promise. Um, did a lot with a lot of stuff breaking down around him. Um, and for a young rookie to be able to manage what he managed, I, I'm not faulting the rookie. I think the rookie did an admirable job. I think you could see his heart, you could see his soul, you could see this is the right guy for the job. Like I feel like Trey Lance is the guy that's made of that type of stuff that you want to develop, you want to build around, you want to uplift, you want to put them in a position to be successful. Um, so again, it's a small sample size, such a small sample size. It's one game. We don't know what they were seeing. We don't know what they were keying on. We don't know what they were trying to manipulate. Um, again, I haven't done a huge dive on how they were attacking us. So I can only just speak to the different offenses that we saw. Um, from Trey Lance to Jimmy Garoppolo. And of course, what's the correlation that fans are going to make, which I don't think is necessarily the correlation, but they're going to look at the 16 designed runs and they're going to look at the beating that Trey Lance took. And of course, they're going to, look at Kyle Shanahan. So it's a tough situation. I think it's a tough game all the way around. And it's compounded by now the injuries that seem to have come from that game. So I felt like the defense did a good job again. I feel like the defense continues to do a good job. I know they took a lot of heat for that Green Bay game, but they got again put in that position by the offense, in my opinion. So it's tough. The 49ers defense does a really good job to put you in position to win games, and the offense just can't get in rhythm. We talk about rhythm all the time on this channel. We talk about continuity, especially on the offensive side. Offensive continuity, offensive rhythm is huge. And it just feels like the offense hasn't been in rhythm all year. For 4 quarters, 60 minutes, hell, 45 minutes. I don't think we've seen the offense in rhythm for 45 minutes. And it strains the defense, strains special teams. And it's really hard. It's really hard. And I don't think fans have all the information. I don't think fans have the knowledge. I don't think fans, I know a lot of you guys are really smart and understand football, but not everyone does. And that's okay. But, a lot of fans don't have the baseline knowledge to be able to differentiate what's going on here. It's a lot. It's just a lot. There's a lot of layers, lots and lots of layers. And it goes back. It even goes back months as well. So it's just a really unfortunate situation. It's a really unfortunate situation. But if the door opens back up for Jimmy Garoppolo to take the start against the Colts in week 7, then I think the 49ers should and try to really, really get back to running the football. just really get back to running the football. I think that's what we would like to see. I think we would really like to see the ground game kind of be revitalized a bit. Again, we understand there's been injuries at the running back position, um, but felt like there was still an opportunity to run the football a little bit more efficiently and effectively with the running backs that we did have and Elijah Mitchell, maybe get Trey Sermon a little bit more involved. I felt like Elijah Mitchell was doing a ton of really good things for the 49ers. And just unfortunately didn't feel like we went back to the well. I would have really liked to see them go back and continue. Again, it helps everyone. The run game helps everyone. The run game helps your young quarterback. The run game helps your offensive line, helps everyone. Takes forces the defense to play the pass. I'm sorry, to play the run. So I think those are some of the things that I would have liked to see be a little bit better. But we don't know where or when Trey got hurt. If he just played completely through the injury, not really sure when it occurred. I would like to know when it occurred just to have a baseline understanding of how long he was playing with the injury or the sprained knee. Just to get a better idea, because I didn't really see anything out there that limited his ability or limited his potential out there. So I don't know. It's not the best though. It's not the best. It's not the best, guys. Trey was seen after the game per Matt Mayoko on KNBR looking fine as can be. I mean, I don't want to get into any kind of conspiracy things, which I know there are a lot of. There are, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate again that we continue to find ourselves in this world. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that this thing needs to exist. It's unfortunate that I don't think, honestly, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a smokescreen. I actually don't feel that it is, and I'm a big conspiracy guy. And you guys know I keep that thing on me at all times. I keep the tinfoil hat on me at all times. We're looking through everything, through multiple lenses, through multiple layers, through like we keep that thing on us, all right? But I'm not getting that sense. I'm not getting that sense this time. I have got it before, but this specific time I'm just not getting that sense. So it is, and we know Kyle. Kyle's very Kyle likes to play the games with the media, and that's fine. I've told everyone, like, if I was ever a head coach or if I was ever a GM of a team, which I will never be, I would do the same thing. I would play the same mental mind games, make you think I'm doing all these other crazy things. But I don't think there's some conspiracy between Trey and Jimmy and them having to like pretend there's injuries for them to play. Like, I think these guys are all professionals. I think these guys make millions of dollars. I think they're man enough to be able to accept, hey, we're going to go with this guy because we think he gives us a better chance to win. That's the NFL. So at a certain point, like, it can't be a conspiracy. It just has to be a situation where there's very clear, direct decision making in regards to who's going to be the quarterback. So I don't know. It's a tough situation. It's really tough. The tinfoil, man. I thought we left tinfoil hat season way, way, way back. I thought we left it way, way back in the off season. But apparently not. Apparently not. Now all you guys have tinfoil hats on and think. What's your take on the batted down passes, bad luck, or passing fundamentals? I think there's also a fundamental understanding that there's defenders that play on the other side of the football. Like the passes can get batted because other players play really well. Like again, this I guarantee you that defensive line, at least on the interior, was keying on Trey Lance trying to escape up the middle of the pocket. So what they were doing was twofold. Not only are they kind of playing contain with or trying to play contain with Trey Lance, but again, you've got JJ Watt, who's a monster. If you just stand in the passing lane and you jump up, you can block it. So I don't know why that has to be a Trey issue. Again, you credit the savviness of the Cardinals defenders who are veterans in this league, who know how to affect and play games with a young quarterback and play their role. And their role is to play contain and get in the passing lane. And the passing lanes there's only so many passing lanes. And so all they're doing is getting in the way of his passing lane and then timing it. You have to give them some credit. It's not just Trey. Like, it's not just Trey. Oh, I'm having a blessed day, young hitter. I hope you're having a great day as well. Obviously, could have been better. Oh, I appreciate that. Congrats on the residency partnership. I know. But if you do want to pick up your residency hat, which I know you do, because everyone's got them at this point, is definitely use promo code the SF Niners. You'll be able to get your hands on one of these. Again, definitely get them before they do go. These things go fast. So absolutely grab them now if you haven't gotten one, because they're fuego. They're super fuego. Yes, it's always tinfoil hat season. It is. But we understand. So I know. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go, boy. Let's go. I love it. So hopefully, we can get this thing back on track, because unfortunately, it's a really tough situation. It's a tough thing to juggle for a head coach. It's, I think, a tough thing. It's proven to be a very tough situation for Kyle Shanahan, for the players in this locker room, for fans clearly can't handle it. Fans clearly cannot handle this. So I think it's just proven to be hard. A hard situation to manage. Again, it doesn't help that we're, injured in a lot of other positions. Not only are we injured in a lot of other positions, we have supposed turmoil with some of our better players, such as Brandon Ayuk. Why isn't he not getting on the field? Clearly, he's healthy. There seems to be so you take all of those things combined, and it's just, I think fans are having a really hard time with it. I think fans are having a real hard time with it. But it's okay. It's okay. We'll hopefully get through this. Hopefully there's a lot of season left. There is a lot of season left. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 games left, guys. There are 12 games left in the year. The 49ers have lost three in a row, unfortunately. 2 that they should have won, in my opinion. And again, Cardinals was up for grabs. We had no idea what we're getting. Brand new rookie quarterback. Didn't know what we were getting, and actually, the rookie quarterback turned out to be one of the better performers on the field that day. So there's 12 games left. If the 49ers can somehow get things back on track and get everything going in the right direction, there's still a chance. I know no one wants to hear it right now. I know no one wants to hear it right now. I understand. But there's still a chance. There's still a chance for them to get back into this and do some things and make some noise. Develop guys. Figure out what your identity is as an offense. Because I think that's the biggest part. Is that we're struggling with when we have, again, the context. A head coach who's been around for 5 years on this team. And we are now 5 weeks in, and we don't know what this offense is. And I think if the 49ers can get back on track, get back on finding their identity, which is hard when you lose players like Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson. Yes, we are feeling that pain. We are. But we still have an opportunity to find our identity. Now, Trey Lance getting hurt doesn't help. Jimmy Garoppolo being hurt doesn't help. So I think we just have to take a step back and try to be as patient as possible, which of course it's not fun. We all want to win now. We want to win yesterday. Like we don't want to get on and talk about losses every week. I know we don't want to do that. But the hope is we figure out what path that is left for this team, and we keep moving forward towards that. Because again, I don't know if it does us much good to have two offenses. I don't know if it does us much good to have two quarterbacks with two individual offenses. Because like I was saying earlier, the offensive line is coached to do everything the same way every single time. But when you have a differentiating schemes, and based on how different those two are, that one that we've seen with Jimmy Garoppolo and the one that you've seen with Trey Lance, it changes timing, it changes angles, blocking angles. It changes a lot of things for the guys up front. So that's part of it. Again, you're not running the football. This is a run first team, and they're airing it out quite a bit. Changes the way protection works up front. And I talked about this too. The refs sucked. Like, let's be honest, the refs were not good. The refs were really bad for both teams, for both the Cardinals and the 49ers. They were not good. They were terrible. Like, there should have been a safety. I don't know how the NFL doesn't stop that play dead in its tracks from the New York offices and say, that is a safety by our definition. The fact that they called like a forward progress on a hold is ridiculous. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of really bad calls against the 49ers over my time as a fan. That's up there with one of them. That's up there as one of the worst calls I've ever seen. So the refs did not help the 49ers at all. But still, the 49ers found themselves in a place to win the game against a 4-0 Kyler Murray-led Cardinals on the road. That's the wild thing about all of this. The wild thing about all of this is that Green Bay, Seattle, and the Cardinals, there's still a chance to win all 3 of those games with the 49ers not playing their best ball. And with all these issues going against them. So I hate to be that person because I know no one wants to hear it, but I think they can be better. Meaning, I think they can get this on track. I think they can get the offense working. If they get the run game working and they can get the play action working, add a couple wrinkles off that, I think they can win games because this defense is solid. We can't marginalize this team to one phase of the football. There are 3 phases. There are 3 phases to this team. Those 3 phases are offense, defense, and special teams. Right now, yeah, our offense is not working like we want it to work. It's not. But do you know what that also means? It should be able to work like it wants to work once they get on track. Like, once they figure out what is going on inside that building that is stopping them from finding a rhythm, then if they can counteract that and get on rhythm, everything starts to change. Meaning you're giving the defense better opportunities. You're giving them better field position to defend. You're giving your kickers better opportunities to make field goal kicks and put points on the board. You're using the time of possession game against opposing offenses. This offense has to work if this team wants to be successful. We cannot focus and just say, "Oh, special teams, defense, it's on you guys. We're gonna do things. We might score. We might turn the ball over." Like, we can't do that anymore. We've had 5 weeks. The sample size is big enough. These guys are professionals. They need to expect, I know they expect more from themselves inside that building. I know that they know they're capable of so much more inside that building. So that means that there's still hope. And I know no one wants to hear that. I know no one wants to hear that on a Monday where the rookie quarterback has a sprained knee. Oh, we lost a linebacker to a broken thumb and all that kind of stuff. I know no one wants to hear that. But with either quarterback, if Jimmy Garoppolo comes in and takes over and plays his game and is able to challenge the defense a little bit differently than he has the first 4 weeks and is a little bit more efficient and can drive the ball a little bit better than he has, that's all it takes. And this offense is back on track. But it hasn't been. Marcel Harris, broken thumb. So we got to play complementary football. We have to. It's been the rallying cry since week 1. We just got to help each other out. The offense has got to help the defense. The defense is doing all the carry, all the heavy lifting, and they're at a disadvantage. The 49ers offense was healthier earlier, and that didn't occur. So, yeah, there are a lot of ifs. There's a lot of ifs in all of it. There's a lot of ifs in everything. At a certain point, these guys got to, again, I'm not in the building, right? So I can't sit there and say, "Oh, well, they've been trying to execute X, Y, and Z, and they haven't been able to because of X, Y, and Z." I don't have that information. All I can say is I can look at what I've seen and say that, hey, I don't necessarily think that this is what's working, or this is what I've seen work in the past, and not seeing plays complement one another. I'm seeing defenses make a ton of adjustments to the 49ers offense. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. I think the biggest takeaway is that defenses know exactly where we're going with the football. And I think that makes it a lot harder for this team to be successful because they're scheming guys out of position. They're they're slanting defenders in a way that makes it hard for offensive linemen to pick them up. Um, I feel like defenses are pretty keyed in on us right now on the offense. Um, and I don't feel like there's been a lot of imagination and creativity as of late. And so you're kind of seeing defenses take advantage of that. And I know a lot of people want to talk about Kyle um, and stuff, but it's everyone. It's everyone. It's the offensive line. Actually, let's start the order of operation. It starts with Kyle Shanahan picking the play. It starts with the offensive line blocking and making blocking adjustments based on alignment pre-snap. Then it's the quarterback reading the defenses properly, hitting his progressions on time, and being accurate with the football. It takes running the football, our running backs to be able to read the running lanes, um, hit the holes with timing. It takes our wide receivers catching the football, takes our wide receivers getting open and running the right routes. It's a lot. If you look at the entire whole of the offense, we aren't doing those things. We're dropping the ball consistently. We're not running the ball consistently. Um, it doesn't feel like we're blocking. Like I feel like we're blocking better than a lot of people want to give credit for, but still not as consistent as we would hope for. And our wide receiver, like the unit, the unit as a whole hasn't been great. Hasn't been great. That Kyle Juszczyk quarterback sneak play was horrible last game. So bad that I predicted that they were going to do it. Yeah, I mean, yes. Yes. I mean, we know they knew right away because they made the adjustment right away. They immediately put the linebackers in the A gaps. Um, on the other side of the nose tackle, which tells you, oh, we know exactly what's coming. Um, so yeah, I get that. I think I think a lot of fans um don't like that play and understandably why, because we saw it. We saw it coming. So you would imagine that a defense studying the week before would see that and be prepared for that as well, which is typically why you pick and choose when you use certain plays. Um, that's not necessarily why we lost the game. Wasn't the best. What would have been great? What would have made that? What would have made that play like a galaxy brain play was to run a counter off of that. To run the same play, you have use check go under center, but rather than diving forward, he pitches it to Lance or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the Kyle Shanahan that I feel like we've come to expect, but we haven't really seen this year. Again, Kyle's what we lift up Kyle and we say he's really good at setting people up. He's really good at setting up defenses. And that's kind of like what I'm talking about. He could have run that same concept where he brings juice under center, knowing defense is going to go alert, alert. They're going to run it right up the middle. We've seen this on tape. We know what's coming. And that's when you counter. That's when, like I said, is a pitch to Trey Lance a good play call? Probably not. But again, it's you're keying and you're noticing that they're keying on stopping that interior run. So counter with the outside run. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the nuances from the offense that I don't think we've really been seeing consistently throughout. And I think part of that is there's a lot of focus kind of going towards that side and like those certain aspects. All right, hold on 1 second here. I see you, coach. Let's see. All right. Okay, so coach says right side of the O line has played horrible. Receivers aren't blocking or catching the ball, and the injuries at running back have hurt us. The plays are fine. Kyle is a scapegoat for those who can't see. Of course, I agree with that. I agree that you have to execute. That's why I talk about it as the whole offense. I'm really not trying to focus on just Kyle. I'm trying to focus on everyone. Everyone's not executing. Like you said, like our offensive line has been up and down at certain points. The receivers, when they block, have done really, really well, and when they don't, you see when that shows up on tape. It shows up when the receivers aren't blocking on tape because their guys are the ones that are making the tackles on plays that could bust for huge gains. The drops, yeah, it's really, really damn tough, man. Injuries. I tried to explain how important Mostert was at the beginning of this year. A lot of people felt like he was not important and it was replaceable. But yes, Mostert is very important, was very important, and really complemented the offensive line well. And I think you can see Elijah Mitchell complements the offensive line really well with his running style. But they've kind of gotten away from that. The plays, I have issues with the plays. I have issues with some of the scheming. I do. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't. Do I think it was terrible? Do I think it was fireable? Absolutely not. I don't. But I will be critical of the play calling and some of the play calling and the theorizing that went behind some of the play calling. Do I think Kyle's getting a bunch of unfair, like, is becoming the scapegoat? Yeah, I do. Do I think he deserves being the scapegoat? Partially. But again, it's an odd situation. It's been odd, and it's been odd inside that locker room, and again, you got to be in rhythm. It's 11 guys working together with the same common goal, and if your offense isn't on the same page, it makes it really difficult. Coach says the fellas aren't executing. Some of those holding calls were on Trey, not setting up blocks, just looking for green grass, bailed on a lot of easy throws. Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to help, like, put an emphasis on, is that some of the miscues on the offensive line is just because, hell, we're blocking for a guy we've never blocked for. Go back to training camp. I can count on two hands how many first team reps Trey Lance played behind that first team offensive line. And there's a big difference when you go from a player like Jimmy Garoppolo, who you know is going to stand strong in the pocket. He's not going anywhere in the pocket. You know he's going to be playing at the correct depth in the pocket. One of the things with Trey Lance is he tends to drift. He drifts really deep in when he drops back to pass. Sometimes you'll find him at 10 yards of depth in the pocket, and that's really hard for offensive linemen to block up. And then on top of that, as an offensive lineman, you have to grab the chest plate. You have to grab the chest plate to be successful. And so when a quarterback, you're blocking a guy and you're into them, and the quarterback goes the opposite direction, and then your defender goes with them, you're already locked on. And then all of a sudden, you start to get extended, and it looks like a hold, and it looks like an egregious hold. So it's a combination. It's that's what offense is. It's everyone working together. You can't just be a clunky, like all these parts not molding together and just expect everything to work. I think there's a lot of stuff to go around. But I don't really think Trey Lance is the main issue here. Croc said something. What'd he say? Croc said Trey Lance had the second highest PFF grade of any rookie in their first start. I did not know that. Jimmy G for the season is averaging 60.8. Whew. I did not know that about Trey, though. I did not know Trey had that grade. Again, I don't think Trey was the reason why the 49ers lost. I really don't. I think Trey was phenomenal. I think Trey did a really, really good job. Brittany Brown asks, honest question. How is it that Lance's former wide receivers at NDSU were capable to catch his passes with zero NFL talent, with his current crop of wide receivers at the NFL level cannot? Please make it make sense. Well, I don't know. I don't know if Croc is still in the chat or not, but I know Croc played DB at the NFL level. I understand wide receiver play a lot. But again, being someone who's very mindful of the mental side of the game, when I see wide receivers drop the ball the way that our wide receivers are dropping the ball, it feels like concentration. It feels like a focus. It feels like a mentality. It feels like a confidence, right? Like, I think confidence in football is paramount. You have to be confident in your ability so you're not pressing. If you're pressing in your ability, or you're questioning your ability, or you're not as confident in your ability, you can kind of tweak yourself, because football is such a mental game. There's so much mental that goes into, am I running my route at the correct depth? Am I breaking it off with the correct timing? Am I winning? Did I read the coverage properly? Did I read the coverage the same that my quarterback read it? Am I out of position? Am I going to make that mistake that I made last time? Am I going to, you know what I mean? Like, you can compound issues just through the mentality, through the mental hurdles of being a football player. Now, I would say you look at Deebo Samuel, you look at Brandon Ayuk, you look at Mohamed Sanu. They are phenomenal when it comes to catching the football. They have good hands. But when they get put in certain situations, we're seeing the hands suffer a little bit. So honestly, it just feels like concentration drops. Like, it feels like they're either, like with Deebo Samuel, I think on one or two occasions, his head is already upfield and he's looking where to run. That's, you gotta catch the ball first, right? We got to catch the ball first, then we make our football move. You hear coaches say that all the time. So that is a concentration thing. That is a mental thing. He was already 2 steps ahead before actually catching the ball. I think he did that twice. I think he dropped 2 screen passes because he was looking to set up his blockers, and he was looking to find his running lanes. It's not because he can't catch. Deebo's got great hands. I think a lot of the same thing with Brandon Ayuk. We know Brandon Ayuk is not in a good place. You go back to when all these issues came out about him getting benched, essentially, which is what it is. Call a spade a spade. Brandon Ayuk got benched at the beginning of this year, or got disciplined. We don't know what to call it. There's something going on, and as a result, guess what? You might not be as confident as a person. You might not be thinking as highly of yourself, or if there's other things at play other than just me going out and being the best that I can be, you can suffer from concentration issues. You can. You absolutely can. Timing of the knee sprain is nuts. This whole off season is nuts. The whole off season, now it's in the season, it's all nuts. It's all crazy. It's all wild. But the original question was, which I understand, is a great point, Brittany. It's a really great point, which is how is it that Lance's former wide receivers at North Dakota State were able to catch all his passes, and yet no one can seem to catch his passes here on this, not which is hyperbole. These guys can obviously catch his passes. They're just not doing it at a consistent clip, unfortunately. What was your question, Simmons? Sorry, I'm dealing with multiple chats. But honestly, I feel like a lot of, like, to wrap a bow on your question, Brittany, I feel like a lot of it comes down to mental processing and confidence and mental stability. I don't know. I don't know. I know from listening to Debo Samuel talk. He talks about how difficult it is to be learning the playbook, how much strain that puts on the playbook. Again, what he said this multiple times. He said he was terrified of Kyle. He said he was terrified of Kyle. Again, I think Kyle's kind of one of those coaches that if you don't do the right thing, he's not going to come up beside you and be all buddy and be like, "Hey man, I see you made a mistake here, but this is how we want to attack it next time, and this is what we got to look out for." And he feels like he's going to come down your road. He feels like he's going to lay into you. If you don't execute it like he expects, you're going to know about it. So that could play into part of the confidence. Again, this is a NFL players' confidence is fragile. Like, this is fragile in the NFL. Like, I know a lot of people look at guys like Tom Brady and they look at Peyton Manning, or they look at all these guys like Jay Rice and be like, why can't everyone be like that? The reason why everyone can't be like that is because they don't have the same brain. They don't have the same ability to process. Like, yes, there's a lot. Like, Jerry Rice was very, very talented, but he became so dominant because he was this. He was a mental beast. And I don't know, man. I can't pinpoint it. I don't know. I don't know why. Again, I don't know the hows. I'm not in that locker room. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, guys got to catch the ball. I tell my son this. My son is 8 years old. I've been throwing him the football since probably before he could even walk. I've been secretly coaching him up his entire life. He doesn't know that. He thinks we're just playing games. But the whole time, I'm like, the games that we play, they're technically all drills. I just make him feel like games. So he doesn't even understand that I'm training him for his entire life to be a football player. He just thinks we're playing games. One of the things that I tell him is that if your hands touch the football, you need to, not like you need to catch it, but it's like, that's the expectation. If the ball hits your hands, you are expected to catch it. And I tell him, the good ones make the hard catches. The good one make the ones that are behind you too high, too low. You can't just be able to catch it every single time when it's on the money. You got to be able to catch it with defenders in your face. You got to be able to catch it being thrown into coverage. And dude, I've been teaching that boy those drills since he could walk. So again, it's part of the same thing that the these wide receivers just need to go back to the fundamentals. Like, and I don't even know if it's that. I honestly don't even know if it's that because these guys are talented. Um, they're very talented. They have the ability. The ability isn't the question. It's the question. The question comes from why can't we do this consistently? And when you look at consistency, that comes from mental. Consistency is derived from this. Consistency isn't derived from ability. That's why you always hear that saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Just because you have God-given ability doesn't mean you have a prerequisite to succeed. You have to actually functionally go out there and execute. You have to practice, not only physically, but mentally. So again, you know, I don't I appreciate the question, Brittany, and I know you're just trying to understand, and we're sending good vibes back to you. We shout out Brittany for trying to learn more and know more about what she's talking about. I can say she's doing a lot more than some of our other fans are doing. So shout out Brittany. We see you. Keep asking your questions. Don't let any of our saltier commenters come down your road. I thought you made a very valid point. I thought you made a very valid point, and I understand. So honestly, I really just think it comes down to confidence, um, because all these guys have ability. We're not questioning ability. We're not questioning Trey Lance's ability. We're not questioning Debo Samuel's ability. We're not questioning Brandon Ayuk's ability. We're not questioning Sanu's ability. We're not. They have the ability. So I like to think that it's just concentration. Just concentration. Now, how do you fix concentration? Now, that's the question. That's the question that everyone wants to answer to. How do you get mentally right amongst this type of pressure, this type of adversity, all eyes on you? You know what I mean? So it's a lot. It's a lot. It's absolutely a lot to take in and try to work through. But I thought it was a great. I Hey Brittany, I thought you were on point. I totally understand the thought process and what you're feeling. I get it. I definitely recognize it. Hey Brittany, you even got people over here on Instagram saying Brittany gang. So don't let anyone hate on you. Don't let anyone hate on you. So yeah, it's it's unfortunate. But like I said, it can be improved. It can be worked on. That's I know a lot of people don't want to be sold hope right now, and I get it. I can I understand. But man, if this team just starts to execute, if this team just starts to execute the way we all know they can execute, scheme the way they can scheme, vibe. I think the most important thing is vibe the way they can vibe. I don't they need a vibe, man. They need that energy. They need they need a little extra juice. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, because they got a lot of the same guys that been there, done that before. But just feels like the cohesiveness is not where they want it to be. It's not where we want it to be. And it's hard to get in again. I keep yelling, "Oh, we want rhythm, we want rhythm, we want rhythm." How do you get in rhythm when you're not in cohesion? And so that's kind of what it feels like. Coach says all Kyle I gotta screen this. Hold on a second. I gotta screen this one from Coach. Um, this is a family show, Coach. Nah, you're good, bro. Um, so basically, Coach is like, Kyle is definitely got a certain treatment for wide receivers because he was one. I know Debo Samuel talked about that a little bit, about how he's very specific and very involved with the wide receivers because he was a wide receiver, which makes sense. I'm very involved with the offensive line because I was an offensive. That's the position I know better out of any position is offensive line. So just like Kyle, he was a receiver, so he knows more about the receivers, which is why he's absolutely hard on them. Basically, Coach is saying he was hard on Debo and Dante, and wants a blue collar guy. He handpicked Ayuk, so he expects a lot. Yeah, I agree. He expects a lot. I agree. He expects a lot, and I understand. I expect a lot. I expect a lot. So I get it. I get it for sure, but I think he is hard on him. I think he is. James says, just been seeing more mental mistakes from the offense and defense this season compared to other seasons. I could be wrong. Yeah, I think. I mean, I think with the defense, we understand. There's a level of, again, it's kind of the conversations we have with the quarterbacks back and forth with D'Amico Ryans, man. This he's still a rookie at the end of the day. He's still a rookie DC. He doesn't have a defensive minded head coach over him, so he's really the head coach of the defense. And I think he's been doing fine. I think D'Amico's been doing a really good job, but I do see a lot of mental mistakes and there are mental mistakes on the defensive side, but I also feel like there are a lot of mental mistakes on the offensive side, which partly plays into the lack of gelling, the lack of continuity, lack of cohesion that could be there. Like, it's almost there. Like, it could be there. It's just like, it feels like when the offensive line is working, the running backs aren't like really feeling the flow exactly right. Or like, it just feels like everything isn't coming together at the same time, if that makes sense. Oh, there's a game on. I forgot. Monday Night Football. Completely forgot. What do you think our standings will be? I don't play that game. It's impossible. It's impossible to project what is going to happen with this team. It's impossible. It's impossible. So apparently Taylor has a fire touchdown run because everyone's going wild. I might have to pull that up in the background. Bear with me. But yeah. Oh, that's right. Colts are playing. That's who we're playing next week. I should be watching this game. What am I doing? What am I doing talking about injuries? Oh, goodness. 76-yard catch and run. Nice. I'll get it on in the background. Screen pass. So, mute you. It's been tough. Like, I get it. Let's try and bring it back. Let's try to bring it back. Bring it in. Everyone, bring it in. Bring it in. I think it's safe to say we take an honest look at ourselves the last 5 weeks. I would say the offense hasn't met the standard that we would all hope to have seen. Now, you can I think I keep saying the offense because there are points when every single phase of the offense has played well. The offensive line has played well. Running backs have played well. Quarterback has played well. Tight ends have played well. Wide receivers have played well. It just doesn't feel like we are getting all of those things to happen at once for 60 minutes, or at least 45 minutes. We've gotten good performances, and out of 30 minutes, just haven't seen the whole thing. So we'll see, man. We'll really see. Coach says 10 wins could be an awesome year for us. At this point, could be. At this point, it could be. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, there's a lot to look at. There's a lot of positives that could be taken away from the game against the Cardinals. There really was. The defense, I thought, did a hell of a job keeping them in the game. Again, keeping the Cardinals to only 17 points. The ability to only keep them to one touchdown in the second half. Again, the 49ers, they turned the ball over on fourth down. There's an interception. They were giving the ball back to the offense, and the defense still answered the bell. So the hope is that both of those phases can start working together and start executing together. Because once that happens, this team will be really hard to beat, even with all the perceived issues and the perceived whatever you want to call it. They could still be better to the point where they win games. They can. I think that's why some are frustrated. I'm frustrated. That's where my frustration comes from. I know a lot of people are frustrated for whatever reasons they have. A lot of my frustration comes from I think they could be performing much better than they are. And I think a lot of that is just like, look at themselves, how they're executing. Like, again, not only the major phases, offense, defense, special teams playing together, but the individual phases of the offense. Offensive lineman, running back, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, all doing exactly what they're supposed to do at the same time. My guy Jordan sent me a clip. Of a situation of, I think it was Dwelly blocking down. It was a design quarterback run. You had, what was it? He was on the left side, so he's playing next to Trent Williams. You had Dwelly, Trent Williams, and then they were blocking this way. The defender was over the shade of Trent Williams, and then you had a linebacker playing right in the gap next to him. So you had two guys on top of each other. Trent and Dwelly are blocking down. Well, if 9 came and blitzed, then Trent would pick up 9 in that gap, and Dwelly would take over for the guy shaded over Trent. But that's if 9 blitzed. 9 dropped out, which means that Trent stays with the guy on him. It's an adjustment. He stays on the guy on him. And because the linebacker is now flowing over the top, Dwelly would capture anyone trying to flow over the top in that scenario. So it was just like a perfect example of just kind of being out of position a little bit, not being responsible for like your guy. And so as a result, number 9 flows into the hole. Brunskill comes pulling around. Brunskill should be getting the safety. Unfortunately, they weren't able to block up that linebacker. So Brunskill goes to the linebacker, and that frees up the safety to make the tackle. If you just make that slight adjustment, if you just make that slight adjustment to be able to key on, those two are responsible for 9 and 94. 94 bails. That means that the responsibility changes, and that's part of playing offensive line. That's why it's so hard. And again, Dwelly's a tight end. He hasn't. It's not Kittle, so he's not playing as the starter, and so those types of miscues can happen. But that's the difference. That is the difference in that play potentially being a touchdown if it was blocked up right, to it being like a 6-yard gain. So there's a lot of small nuances like that I've already kind of seen on tape. So again, I haven't dove in yet. I haven't done the deep dive on the O-line play. So again, I'm not talking about the offensive line because I haven't watched them yet. So that's a perfect example of just a little mix up here or there, and it changes the way the play is executed. So it's a tough situation. But how about this? I'll call it a day. I've been talking forever. I didn't go live for a while, but I missed you guys. It's really good to see you guys back on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Also on Instagram as well. Again, as we close on this thing, I get it. A lot of people are upset. There's now more added stress and anxiety around the quarterback situation, and there will continue to be. As long as I think fans need to realize this. I was, I'm blessed with my tinfoil cap, so I was ready for this. But this quarterback conversation is going to continue, and it won't stop. And again, there's going to be conspiracy theories. There's going to be all of this. So just be prepared. Just be prepared that we're in the thick of it. So only going to get more controversial, more divisive. So just be prepared. And we'll be ready for it. Again, we'll talk through it all. We'll try to provide all the information and just discuss it, talk about it, see what we think, see what we like, see what we don't like, and we'll go from there. So again, appreciate everyone as always for tuning in. Until next time, which will be tomorrow, we'll sleep on it and hopefully have a better understanding of what's going on. So we'll see. We'll see. Obviously going to be a long 2 weeks. 49ers have the Colts. Colts are actually on right now. Literally what I say in my head every single time. I say that now thanks to TikTok. But I get it. No one wants to hear it, but we still got hope, guys. We still got hope. There's still hope to get this damn thing on track. I don't care. There's still hope. So we're going to keep trying to keep as much good vibes around the team as much as possible. Try and pinpoint areas that they can improve and continue to get better. Because again, it's like if they can just prove, I would say 10% of the miscues on offense. If they can just eliminate 10% of the miscues, they're winning football games. They just 10% out of 100% of their miscues, they eliminate 10% of those, they're winning football games. I feel it. I really do. So that's on everyone. So let's try to manage this as much as possible. We got a big injury headed into a 2-week bye. So buckle on, fam. It's going to be a lot to talk about. There's going to be more narratives that come out of nowhere. Guarantee you. We're going to be talking about something crazy in the next week. Guarantee you. And that's just how it's going to be. So be prepared for it. Be ready to ride and just keep good vibes. If you're in the sourdough squad, you know the vibes. So I don't got to tell it to you. And my guy, my guy Luke's getting what he wants. So happy for you, Luke. It's going to be a good opportunity for Jimmy to show a lot, So let's keep the vibes up and let's see how we bounce back. 2 weeks, of getting right is ahead of us. 2 weeks of getting right is ahead of us. Let's get the offense right. Defense will come. It'll all work out, guys. It'll all work out as long as we can get back on track. Let's go. All right, guys. I appreciate it. You've heard enough of me. I'm out of here. Later. And we are out of Instagram. Guys, let me get out of Instagram real quick. Dude, it's crazy, man. Like, just pure candid moment before I hop off. I know there's not many people in here. I had a lot of people on that team show up in that live that I just did on Instagram. Players, staff members. It's crazy, man. These guys are feeling it. These guys, yes, good vibes. Because like I just said, I just had players and staff members on my live. And that's half the battle, is that these guys they're in it, man. They're in the weeds. We're not. We just talk about it. We just talk about what we don't like. We don't know what's going on. We don't have all the information. I know for a fact there's information that I know that you guys don't know. So that's part of it. It's like we just have to try our best to really, like, when I tell you our vibe affects their vibe, it's for real. It's 100% for real. I get told that all the time. So there's a reason why we go about our business a certain way. And I just think we just need to ride it out. I think the Cardinals game was a nice test shot. It really was. It was like a nice glimpse of what Trey Lance is and could be. And I think the arrow is pointing mighty high. I think Trey Lance is going to be just fine. So what we need to figure out is if we're looking at this at a coaching level, is understand these players are products of the decisions that the coaching staff is making. So we just have to remember not to just crap on these guys all the time as much as we want to. We want to be part of the solution, right? Not just the problem. So that's what we try to do. We'll try to get it back. I've been on live for way too long. This is now 3.5 hours. So I'm getting off. No, and Luke, you've made this clear a lot. I know where you're coming from. I really do. I get it. Like, I appreciate your stance on this all. It's actually been quite refreshing, to be perfectly honest. But we'll see. We'll see how they respond. We'll see how they react. We'll see what occurs. Because I guarantee, man, they got 2 weeks of self-reflection. 2 weeks of self-reflection. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see what comes from it. I appreciate you guys. If you guys watched both my lives, you deserve a cookie. You deserve a reward. You deserve some kind of medal of sorts. Appreciate Appreciate you guys as always for sticking it through with me, talking with me, arguing with me, all of it. Appreciate it. Until tomorrow, I will see you guys soon.